Guys, I'm Mary Richardson. I help people overcome their anxiety, specifically with regard to PTSD or trauma. In this video, I'm going to answer questions, so feel free to comment. You should be able to comment, and I'll see those comments. All right, so let's dive in. The first question I'm going to answer is, what are self-compassion and self-protection? It's a great question, really. Self-compassion is really just showing yourself, obviously, compassion. But I think what the question is getting at is more, how do you do it? Really, I think that some of the best things I've heard people doing as far as compassion is to get to their root cause of their imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome, there's 5 or 7 different types, and these are the reasons that we won't give ourselves credit for achievements, essentially. So one of the types of imposter syndrome is it's called the superhero, where you feel like you have to work 50, 60 or more hours, or unending hours in order to be acknowledged for your contributions. So that can be obviously in your own career, in your own business. You feel like you have to work all the time or else the achievements don't count. If you work, if you achieve a lot in a little bit of time, that it doesn't count. Another type of imposter syndrome is the feeling that if you had any kind of help, it didn't count. The achievement doesn't count. So self-compassion is really tied up, I believe, with doing self-care, doing it every day. Self-care can be anything from acknowledging your achievements to setting strong boundaries, to standing up for what you want in your life on a daily basis. In other words, if someone is doing something you don't want to do, whether it's taking your career in a direction you believe isn't good for you or isn't in what you imagine for yourself, self-compassion can be really just showing yourself grace and acknowledging what's right for you. So that's self-compassion. Self-protection, I believe, is all wrapped up in boundary setting. And how do you set boundaries? Well, it's easy to do when no one's around, but the challenge comes when those boundaries are pushed against. In other words, someone wants to do something you don't want to do, or go somewhere you don't want to go, or take your career or change your goals in a way that isn't what you had imagined. Setting boundaries is really just saying no. Now, you know that narcissism can often be the cause of a lot of trauma, a lot of PTSD, CPTSD. Learning to set strong boundaries is really important to healing, because one of the things that people fear the most, if they've ever been involved or around a narcissist, is that their boundaries will continue to be crushed, that they won't know how or when to set up boundaries. Setting boundaries is really simple. I'm going to tell you a quick way to do it. Let's say you have somebody, a narcissist, who wants you to not work on your goals. They won't say that, but by their actions, every time you set time aside to work on your goals, they know that you're working on your goals, working on your stuff now, and they know during that time to leave you alone. But that what they do is they do everything but that. They will text you, they will call you, they will show up, they will have an emergency that they need your help with, they will have an emotional problem that they need you to drop everything to help them with. So if you see this going on over and over and over, every time you want to do something for yourself, the narcissist, I'm not talking about children, I'm talking about adults, the narcissist will purposefully try to sabotage that time from you. So what strong boundary setting, it's easy, because all you have to do is say no. You don't have to explain it. You don't have to rationalize it. You don't have to ex justify it. You don't have to give anyone anything in order to say no. In other words, if in the situation I described before, where you have a narcissist constantly interrupting you, or texting you, or emailing you, or calling you, you can choose to say no in a way that it is comfortable for you, or uncomfortable. It's a little bit of uncomfortableness as you're setting strong boundaries. So you have to find your own way of setting boundaries that works for you, where you can just slowly let go of the guilt. And people that want us to give up our goals, give up our time to help them achieve their goals,